In this video, you're going to be learning about the 40% rule, and when you apply it, it can literally change every single area of your life. For those of you new to my channel, my name is Adam Carmichael. I'm a mindset performance coach who helps poker players to reach that next level of performance. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video. I've got a special announcement about some spaces to work with me one-on-one with my peak performance coaching. I'll announce that at the end. Now that being said, let's dive into today's video. So we're going to talk about the 40% rule, which is a concept I got from David Goggins. David Goggins is an ex-Navy SEAL, often described as the world's toughest man, and I recently did one of his challenges. He's got a famous book called Can't Hurt Me, where he distills a lot of his mindset principles for overcoming obstacles. And one of these principles is called the 40% rule. Now this is basically our internal dialogue, or inner chat, our mind's reserve tank, and the 40% rule indicates that we stop pushing ourselves around the 40% mark. We have 60% untapped potential left, 60% reserve that we don't tap into. When you think about this, it's like, that sounds extreme, right? When we push ourselves hard, we've still got 60% left. Could that be true? Now, I just tested this recently. My last video, I'll put a link to it somewhere above here. I just did one of the David Goggins challenges, which is called the 4x4x48. And you have to run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. So you have 4 hours, 4 miles, 4 hour break, 4 miles, 4 hour break for 48 hours. So this makes you run 48 miles in 2 days. So me and my girlfriend took this challenge on. She did the home workouts, I did the runs. And before this challenge, this 40% rule was running my life. And I thought there's no way I can run 40 miles. But I wanted to take on a mental challenge to see if I could push myself past where my limitations were. Could I get past my inner governor, as David Goggins calls it, which shuts you down and tells you that's enough, you've maxed out. So having to run 40 miles in 2 days, I realized how much more you can get out of yourself. Because normally I do 1 3-mile run and I'm done for a few days. I'm like, oh, my legs are sore, I can't run again until later in the week. So for me to do 40 miles over the course, I realized you can tap into this reserve. So if you look at it like this, you got to realize everything we do, the mind is trying to preserve itself. Okay, so the mind's telling you you're done, you're tired, you're finished. You've got to understand why it's doing this, and more importantly, how to override it consistently so you can get into your reserve tank. Okay, so let's say roughly that's the halfway. This is around the 40% mark. It's probably more than 30. 40% mark. This is when we feel like we're done. So the 40% mark of your capabilities, whether it's physical exertion, whether it's mental exertion, whether it's a long poker grind, a study session, it feels like 100%. And the reason for this, the mind seeks survival, it seeks comfort, and it doesn't want you pushing it. It doesn't want you going to that next level. But as a result, we end up with this massive reserve of potential that we don't tap into. So you've got to make the habit of pushing yourself into the next bracket of reserve. So let's say the next bracket is around the 50% on this one. Your brain's going to tell you you're done at 40%. If you're just mentally aware, I've got another 60% left, I've got another 60% left, that gives you the kind of power to push into that unknown. So for me, I was 3 runs into my 48-mile challenge. So I ran about 10 miles at this point, and I could see my body saying, Adam, you're done, you're finished. I was approaching the 40% mark, and my body was telling me I was finished. But as you overcome your mind and you go, there's more in there, there's more in there, there's more in there, and you make a habit of that, you just tap into this unlocked potential. You tap into all this extra growth. You realize that your mind is trying to preserve itself, and it's being a little bitch, in all honesty, and it's telling you you're done way before you finished. So every time you're doing something that's hard, be aware that you've got a big reserve left. Just be aware of it and challenge yourself to squeeze a bit more out of yourself. It's got to be a game, a consistent game every single day. Whether that's in the gym, doing an extra rep, whether that's in a study session, going for an extra half an hour, whether that's in a grinding session and making yourself go a little bit further. Get in the habit of overriding this defense mechanism of the brain. So the brain, the mind seeks 2 things. The reason it's doing this is for 2 reasons. The first thing it seeks is comfort. The reason the brain seeks comfort is it's a low energy state. The brain wants to reserve energy, so it wants to put you in the comfort zone. If you're in the comfort zone, awesome, we can autopilot, downregulate, that's great for the brain. So it wants to put you there a lot. It also wants Security. It wants security. It doesn't want to risk things. It wants to play things safe. It wants to tell you, don't push too hard to get injured. You're going to burn out. That's enough now for you. The brain's telling you this to protect itself for security and comfort. So when we know this, we know, imagine you are aware of this. Imagine you just watch this video and went, interesting concept this guy's talking about. I'm just going to pretend it's true. And every time you feel like you're finished, you just envisioned that you're only at the 40% mark. You've got 60% left of energy and resources. That's what I want from this video. I want you guys to change your mindset. When you think you're done, just envision having a 60% reserve that you can tap into anytime just by overruling this kind of governor that's saying that you're done. So when the mind seeks comfort and security, however, to achieve your goals, does that work? Does being in the comfort zone get you to the goals? Does security get you your goals? It doesn't. So achieving your goals requires discomfort because we need to push out of our comfort zone. If we don't go into uncomfortable situations and get out of our comfort zone, we're going to get the same results we've always gotten. The comfort zone is basically the predictable, the known, what we get out of life. And we want to push ourselves past that into the discomfort, into the unknown, so that we can get the rewards that we want. That's where all the growth comes from. And it also requires challenge. All growth comes from challenge. Challenge goes into the face, fights for security, risk, challenge, taking on next opportunities and things that you push out your comfort zone. This is what's needed to achieve your goals. So if we're stopping at the 40% line, thinking it's the 100% line, we're never going to get to our goals. So my challenge for you guys is to realize every time you think you're done, you're not. Every time you think you're at the finish line, you've got a big energy reserve. Do you want to get used to tapping into that? Do you want to get used to pushing into that new bracket of energy reserves? So the way I envision it, when you're driving a car, you've got a petrol light or a fuel light that comes on when it says you're out of fuel. And it'll start flashing and say you're done, finished, top on petrol. But you've got a reserve, often like 40 miles, maybe 60 miles reserve that you can get, that can keep you going even though it says you're empty. So even when the empty light's flashing, you're done, you've got a reserve. And this is what this reserve is. But this reserve is huge with the mind. The mind and the body, this reserve is bigger than the actual fuel tank itself, because the brain protects you so much. So when you understand this concept, just to be mentally aware of it, and you go into your days going, I'm going to try and get into that energy reserve. I'm going to try and get into that fuel resource. So the way I do this is every morning, not every morning, but 3-4 times a week, I run a 5K on the treadmill, and I try to push myself. My mind says, slow down. I go, no, speed up. And I know I'm around the 40% mark. When my mind's saying I'm done, and I want to get that 50% mark. I want to get that 60% mark. I want to get that 70% mark. And when you push yourself, you realize, holy shit, I'm capable of so much more than I thought. So after watching this video, write down one thing that you're going to challenge yourself to push yourself further than you pushed yourself before. Is it in the gym? Is it with a study session? Is it with a grinding session? Push yourself out of your comfort zone and watch as the brain tells you you're done. Remind yourself you're at the 40% mark and overrule that to push into those untapped resources. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Now, if any of you are serious about taking your mindset and performance to the next level and you want to work with a coach one-on-one to get the most out of you, I'm excited to announce I've got a few spots available in my Peak Performance program. If you click on the link in the description, you can apply for that and you will book in a free consultation call with me to make sure we're a good fit to work together. We'll be leveling up your mindset, your performance, your lifestyle, and everything you need to achieve your biggest and best goals. Thanks for watching this, guys. Hope you enjoyed this, and make sure you hit that like button before you go. Plenty more coming from me very soon.